¡Ya, diablo! Nate, ¿me escuchas?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
¿Escuchas?
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get this
Dale.
done. Oh, diablo, man. Pero tranquilo, tranquilo. Yere. Y muy buenas y bienvenidos. Hello and welcome to all my friends and fans that listen every week. This is your new edition, episode number 375 of Fantasy Deporte, the podcast that is like your mother's love. It never expires.
Boom.
Today, March 3rd, 2025, broadcasting directly from a Fantasy Deporte corner. Here, tu servidor, El Manny, making an exception today in a very, very, very special Spanglish episode. Remember that you can always reach us throughout all the social media, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, smoke signals, beeper, messages in bottle. Don't matter how, just throw it at us and we'll do the best we can to answer all your questions like you guys always do. But, Team Fantasy Deporte people, our fans, buckle up. Today, we have a very special guest, a powerhouse, former football player, current sports guru, and a man with knowledge so deep that even Google calls him for advice.
Ooh.
What?
Ooh.
He is a big man, literally and figuratively. I got problems with that word, man.
That's
Figuratively.
That's a tough one.
Both in stature and in depth of wisdom. Yo, did I mention that this guy right here is an amazing father and an amazing husband?
I appreciate that, man.
What else do you want about an all well-rounded MVP? So, if you're ready for a ton of sports insights, sprinkle of dad jokes, and enough words to
Yes.
fill a playbook, let's go, people. Give it a warm applause and a warm welcome to my man, Nate, the professor.
Oh, you hit me with the DJ horns.
Hit me
huh?
with the DJ,
Let's go.
That can't, we always have to do that. That's a classic right there, man.
Right
Come on. Let's go, Professor. What's happening? How are you?
Man, doing great, man. Doing great. Starting, was it Monday? I don't know when you dropped the podcast there, but, so just finished the first day of the work week and that much closer to the weekend. So, yeah, things are going great. How about you, my man?
Oh, man, I'm so excited to have you here today. After this podcast, I'm going to take you to a steak dinner in Ponderosa. Wait.
Ponderosa.
There you
Let's
go.
go.
Ponderosa, man. You know Ponderosa?
I do,
Lo
actually.
mejor de la cosecha. Yeah. That was the commercial that we saw basically
really?
every week. And yeah, Ponderosa, man. You
Right
never
on.
been to Ponderosa?
Yeah. Have you been to Ponderosa?
Oh, my God, dude. Like every
Did they have 'em in
every
PR?
Sunday after church.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. All right. The town I live in actually didn't have a Ponderosa. Like
No way.
We had like Golden Corral, or we had like
You got a Sizzler?
we had Sizzler.
Bonanza?
Yeah, it was
Bonanza?
Bonanza. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you
bro,
know I'm
you
taking you back.
You went deep. Yeah. Yeah, no, we had Sizzler, man, and yeah, that was it, dude. That was a big thing, I grew up in a house where we didn't do a lot of going out to eat, so like when it happened, man, that was huge.
Oh, special.
Yeah, we were all over it.
How many
all
plates
over it.
did you end up with every time?
Listen, my father, both my parents grew up kind of broke, and then my dad was in the military, and so and my parents just real frugal with their money. So whenever we did go out, my father would be like, "Hey, get my money's worth," So I was like, say less. I'm about to go put some damage on this place. He's like, we ain't drinking. Don't even worry about the waitress would come and bring you like, hey, what do you want to drink? But that's like, we don't need drinks. We're not filling up with water or any liquids.
I need every inch of my stomach.
We putting food down here. You're gonna be like, it's all you can eat except the Gilmore family. You know what I mean?
They had to close it just because, they had to be like, guys, come on. No, this is all you can eat. It says it right there,
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Yeah, man, I know Ponderosa, man. I remember, it was like a plate for one crab leg. And then I played for a single piece of macaroni and cheese. And then one plate, oh man, he was the greatest. His Ponderosa doesn't exist anymore. I don't know.
No.
Right?
Is there not
Have
one
you
now
seen-
for
Nuh-uh.
iDrive? I thought there was one on iDrive. Dude, I'm pretty sure there's one on iDrive. I kid you not. I think it's, yeah.
You know, that would be a good, like, bet. Someone that loses a fantasy
That they
football
eat at
game or
Ponderosa?
something. No, they got to go to Ponderosa, like, all day.
Ooh.
Or just dressed up as someone or somebody, or, and just go and eat over there. I'm going to have to think about that a little bit.
Some of those buffets actually have, like, time limits. So, like, they'll tell you, like, if you ever go to Vegas, like, they'll tell you, like, hey, you got 75 minutes. And, like, they'll clock you. I kid you not.
How are they clocking every single person?
It's the server. So, the server only has X amount of tables, And so we went, man, I can't think of the name of it. It's in Caesar's Palace. And we ate it when it's expensive. And we went.
Guys, you got 5 minutes.
Yeah, the lady was like, hey, you've exceeded your time. I'm like, oh, we're just finishing up, But goodness gracious.
They're like, yo, you guys have 5 minutes. Do you hear that? Let's get them.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you what. The people that are gonna be listening to this podcast is gonna eat a lot of fantasy baseball through their ears, because that's what we got going on today, people. We got my man Nate, the professor, here. We're gonna go a little bit through some of the. For those that didn't know, our kids play together. We'll get into that, but we're just going to talk a little bit about the East Orange Baseball League. Then we'll hop a little bit until the what happened to Nate's team last year in the Fantasy Deporte Fantasy Baseball Tournament. And at the end, I just want to pick his brain a little bit about his team, the Baltimore Orioles. But I got a disclosure here really quickly. My English is not very good looking, just to let you guys all know out there, this is a podcast dedicated to the Hispanic community. But, we have baptized here Nate, the professor, as a Puerto Rican.
Hey,
as a half Puerto Rican.
I have
man.
no problem being
There you go.
Boricua.
There you
Like,
go.
I'm all about it.
Diablo,
Listen, I know enough to get myself in trouble.
Yeah, diablo, half Boricua. Hey, diablo, watch out out there. Lisa's gonna kill me. Hey, what are you putting Kenny G for out there?
That was George Michael, bro. That's what we were talking about earlier.
That's
right.
George.
Careless Whispers, bro. That was a song I was telling you. We were wailing in the car with that.
Did you wear like your hair like that back in the day too?
People. I had
80s style.
I had weird hair. I'm half black, half Italian, so I had like really curly hair, but not like super tight curl. So, but then at the same time, I try to like brush it like a white kid would do. So it just didn't look good. I didn't figure it out till I was like 8th grade.
Like a perm, like
yeah, not like a perm, but I had I can't think of a player right now off the top of my head.
The Miami Heat. Well, we were talking about it the other day. The Miami Heat player that got traded into Golden State.
No,
something like that, like the perm, like that.
No, that's straight, bro.
Yeah.
No.
Okay,
I had curly hair. Who's the boy in Boston? Jason Tatum.
Okay.
So you see he has curly hair.
Yeah.
I had that type of hair. So I think he's a mixed
long,
kid.
long.
I think he's a mixed kid too. No, I didn't have long, but I had a skin tight fade on the sides and then curly hair on the top. Man, listen. I thought I looked good. So, I mean, I wasn't ugly.
That's it. That's all I got to say. Okay, stop it with the Kenny. But that's Kenny G, man.
No, it's not, bro. That's is absolutely George Michael. I bet you.
Look at that.
I bet you. Hey, I bet you that Ponderosa dinner.
The Ponderosa dinner got to my head.
That's George Michael. Careless Whispers. It's probably 3rd song on my search on Amazon Music right now.
Tonight the next is business. How did I do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was close. That was there. Hey, you know what? It's on a song like that, you just gotta let go. You gotta let go.
Arielito. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So Thank you for that transition, Ariel. So we're here today. We got our refreshments back here in our hand. You know, I can see that we got some cold beverage in here. You know, because I know you don't like the cold stuff. I mean, I was thinking about, you know, what was I gonna have in the podcast for you. I said, you know, it has to be warm because, you know, I heard that, you know, you ate you drank a slushy or something.
You really hit me with that?
I mean, I don't know. Like,
yeah, no, I don't do super cold like
no,
that. Yeah, my body doesn't. My heart doesn't like it.
Dang.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is this
That's a real
refreshing?
thing. It's good. Yeah, it's perfect.
Cold
bro.
enough
Perfect.
or cold, you know? Because I got some warm rum back there that, you know.
Nah, I'm good, man.
No? Okay.
I'm good.
All right. So, all right, man. Now we're one-on-one, Juan-on-Juan, mano-a-mano. And, you know, I'm going to just let it out here to everyone out there that is listening. So this happened because, you know, our kids play baseball together. They're members of a league called East Orange Babe Ruth in the east of beautiful Orange County. And, you know, I was so lucky to be able to, you know, get surrounded by such an amazing group of people, such as this gentleman next to me and the families that also are part of this community. And so far, you know, coming from, you know, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, and down here, and I just appreciate so much the fact that you guys have made us, my family and I feel like this is home. So I want to say thank you to you about that. And thank you for inviting my kid to, you know, the flag football. Man. That was fun, man.
Dude, yeah, Judah was asking about, we were talking about it. You know, I was like, hey, you're interested in playing again? He's like, yeah, I do. He's like, can Eli be on the team? I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, it'll have to be the winner. But he's like, yeah. I said, I know. Eli looked like this was like second nature to him. You know what I mean? He looked like a little Braxton Berrios out there. He just caught the ball. That was that one pass that they hit us that they ended up calling back. But, I mean, Judah put some stank on it, and Eli grabbed that thing, and I was like, oh.
He was so awesome to watch. You know, he was like a little Wes Welker out there.
Yeah,
you know?
dude. He's a hustler, man.
Yeah, man. He was catching passes and going really fast. And
I knew it. That's the reason why I asked for him. I knew Eli would be able to do this. Like, I knew with everything, every bone in my being, I knew he would be good at this.
Oh, my God. It was amazing. But, like, I never been to a flag football game, and it was interesting to me to see how the coaches were actually involved in every play throughout the game. So you're allowed to actually be in the field with your players.
That's just due to the age group, So the next level up, you have to be on the sideline. You can't be physically on the field like that. And so, because you still at those ages, you're still, you know, trying to get guys in the right position and stuff. And so, truth is, I didn't really have to be. I could just call the play. The kids knew the plays, not necessarily knew the plays but they had their plays on their wristbands, and so I could just call it from the sideline, and they'll run the play with no problem. So
that was really fun to watch, man. Like how? So tell me about the plays. Like, did you actually went into the Madden game and just copy paste some of these plays?
No,
like, where did you come up with these plays?
I literally, because Madden is, you know, that's 11 on 11, and so this is 6 on 6. So I built all those plays that they ran. So I mean, clearly they weren't the greatest because we didn't score touchdowns on that last game.
Hey, nobody.
But you know. We had some good games. Where we put up a lot of points, and so that one was just a little bit tougher. But yeah, man, I really want to. I was telling you is I really want to put a team together just of our you know our Cobra team, you know, our Chaos players, and let them go out there because I think a few things. One, that's going to build up, you know, more camaraderie with each other, you know, team building. Yeah. But two, you know. I think these guys, we have athletic kids on our team, you know, and just much like Eli, dude, I know that Lucas would be amazing out there.
Bradley,
Brian, dude. I mean, Camden. I mean, dude. I think we got some ballers, man.
Yeah.
And to be able to play in a different setting, So when I was at UCF, we would play intramural sports, right? And they would have, like in the wintertime, they would do like a tournament, and the football players would have a team. And I mean, they're just coming and dunking on everybody, But it was a whole team with just nothing but football players, you know what I mean? What? And they were just demolishing people. Damn. And but at the same time, and I hated it because I played them before, and I'm like, nah. But
here comes this guys,
Right.
Oh,
like I'm not getting dunked on, bro. But at the same time, I'm not gonna take out like our number one wide receiver either. You got to balance these things out. I'm a UCF fan. First.
You got some elbows right there. Underneath that rim, check those elbows. You can make some serious damage, man.
No, I'm not trying to. I need this guy for the next football season,
man. No, it was. I think that's a great idea if we can make a team of our Cobra team in there. But what's up with that kid getting all the touchdowns, dude? He was like, I mean, when I say he was as tall as me, I'm not saying much because I was the same height since 5th grade.
Yeah.
But he had a mustache, dude.
Bro,
that kid had a mustache.
He drove to the game. He has 2 kids at home. He has a 401k.
He fill out the taxes. He gets back from the federal government.
Exactly.
Jesus, man. What the hell, man?
And, this is the second time we played them. And Judah, my son isn't a small person, in terms of he's not super, super skinny. He's not like chubby or anything else too. He's just a stocky kid, and they pushed him around last game, and I was like, he was super frustrated, and him and I had a whole conversation with it about, what to do in the situation where they come to try to put hands on you. Not that we're, condoning like fighting or anything like that, but I'm like, this is flag football, Yeah. And then at the same time, I say, hey, there's going to come a time, man, when you're in pads and get to do this. And I said, and it's going to be a completely different experience. And I was like, and you will be able to inflict retribution anytime that you want. So,
you heard it here first. I hope you were listening to this, Judah. Makai.
That's my boy.
Makai. What you tell me about the name Makai?
Oh, so my oldest nephew.
Just to give everyone the background, so we're in the baseball game, and Nate is one of the most calm people in that whole place, and Judah goes out and he's screaming Makai. Am I saying it right?
No, yeah, you kind of
say it.
It's Makai.
Makai.
And so he, but I've toned down though, because I used to say a lot. And then my wife Lisa kind of got on me about it, like constantly talking to him, and just strictly when he's going up to bat. And so I stopped doing it, and because he's put the time in. He has a hitting coach. The work he puts in with the coaches. And on the team stuff. Yeah. I'm like, if you don't have it by now, you're not gonna have it. So I started really just not really saying anything, and just letting him go up.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, in my family, so a few things. One, how I got the name. My oldest nephew, who plays college football at South Carolina State, when he was playing Pop Warner football, there was a kid who they played flag football together, and it was him and my nephew, and they were like unstoppable. Like my nephew's fast, and so was the kid.
You mean the 10 feet tall kid that was in the weekend there?
Yeah, my nephew's 6'4". He's
okay.
He's not small.
Yeah. Oh, 10 foot tall. That's what it looked like from my angle.
Well, he got big hair too, so that probably puts him at like 6'7". But
2 feet more. Yeah.
But So, anyways, they end up going on 2 separate football teams, and so and Makai became this kid that whenever they needed a touchdown, they just give the ball to him and he scored a touchdown. Like, the kid was a monster. He ended up playing football at Lake Nona High School. I don't know if he ended up playing college ball or not, but he was a hustler. But we just loved the name Makai, and so when our son was born, like we knew we were going to name him Judah. And but we really love the name Makai, which is interesting because my nephew hates it, like absolutely hates it. And so, but in my family, in my family, if you wanted to get somebody's attention, you call them by their middle name. So like my oldest nephew, his name is Dominic. His middle name is Deshaun. And so if we're out somewhere, whichever, I call him Deshaun. I don't call him Dominic. And he knows, hey, that's somebody. That's somebody's important. That's somebody I'm supposed to listen to.
It's like when your mom, when you were in trouble, and your mom tell you by
in trouble is a whole name, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, the whole name.
This isn't a whole name situation. We're just calling. So, Judah can hear a whole bunch of people saying Judah, Judah, Judah. Yeah. But then he hears Makai. He's like, that's mom or dad.
Yeah. I hear you. And me.
I'm
the other guy going, Makai.
You hit it with the accent, so he knows.
He loves it. He loves it.
He does, absolutely.
Imagine, talking about that when your mom used to call you by your name, and he was, imagine us, in Puerto Rico, we had like 10 last names. He was like, Emmanuel Donate Perez Hernandez Gonzalez Rivera Ramirez. It was something like that. I knew I was in trouble. And if she kept adding names to my name, that meant like I was just, every name was like a month of,
being grounded,
grounded. So, but, so that's cool, man. Your son seems really into baseball. And, I just want to ask you, like, what, is it a preference of sport between football and baseball? Are you looking at baseball like the sport that you want him to focus on more than the other, or how is he right now in this phase?
So Judah loves sports. We'll just clarify that. Judah, if Judah had his way, he would play every sport. He would play full contact football. Like, he would do everything. Like right now, so we just finished flag. We got this. He wants basketball in the summer. He wants in the fall we have a choice. We don't have to play rec and we can do Cobra.
Yeah.
So we don't do rec, but he gets to play another sport. So we're gonna do soccer. And he loves soccer, dude.
Damn.
And I'm a believer in that, in twofold. One, that you only have the small window in life to be able to play these games. You know, when we get our age, there's not really,
knees,
right,
thighs,
but it's not even just
life,
that. It's just there's really there's the limited
farts. It's just it's not happening, man.
No, but. There's really hardly any competitive sports to be able to play at this age. And so you got a small window to do that. And then at the same time, I don't want him to tire of baseball. You know what I mean? Because it is a lot of work, So like for this season right now that we're in, right, he has his rec practice. He has a Cobra practice. Then the next day is another Cobra practice. He has his hitting coach, fielding coach, because they moved him catcher, doing catching, so he does those workouts. And then on top of that, he actually has like speed and agility workouts that he does on off days. And so it's a lot of stuff that he does. And I don't want him to feel like, oh man, baseball is just so demanding. I'm losing the love for it,
Yeah.
And he loves baseball. And so I can incorporate other sports, let him play, and hey, this was good, this was fun. It ain't baseball, but and at the same time also, you're working different muscles. You're working on, because baseball, you get only these little pockets of explosion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unlike basketball or soccer or football, where it's constant. I take that football, you get like in between plays, but it's an explosive workout that you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball doesn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just another way also to keep in shape and to work on those things.
Yeah.
And you look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes, like he could have went and played pro ball.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or take Kyler Murray, who was drafted in, was a top 10, in the draft.
Oakland A's.
Mm-hmm. And so he had the opportunity to do that. And then he's a number one pick coming out of college for a quarterback. Like, there's something to be, back in the day, that used to be the thing. You when you played sports, you played, and especially high school, your guys most of the time did football in the fall, they did basketball in the winter, and then they did either baseball or track in the spring. Those were your seasons. And you didn't play baseball all year. Right now we're in Florida, so we can get to do that.
Yeah.
But if you lived like in Ohio, you're not playing baseball all year round. You're playing the other sports.
Tell me about it, man.
You know what I mean?
I lived it. I was up there for 18 years when they were born. We could just play baseball 6 months of the year,
right?
Because that's it, So that was one of the reasons why I migrated like the birds down here. Because for me, being able to be outside more often with with the baseball, the sport that he chose as his favorite, was a way for me to bond with him in another way. Because I love baseball. I never played it because I'm not Jose Altuve here, but I didn't have the physical specimen. He just started, and what happens with Eli, he can process really quickly. He's really smart about positional baseball. What happens? Where do I have to be? Where is the ball going? Oh, there's a man on second. What do I have to do if I'm on second? What do I have to do if I'm on short? Right. It's different situations.
It's that baseball IQ.
Position.
It's that IQ, bro. Yeah. So that's huge, right? To me, I think that a lot of kids struggle with that. And actually, I gave Judah some props about this. I think it was last week, or in our Cobra game. Even though those games didn't come out well, I told him, I said, hey. But I told him, I said, hey, you know what? I saw when they had runners on. I saw when the ball's in play. You just don't stand there. You go to back up. You're moving around constantly. Yeah. And, and I think that's huge when you're looking at, understanding what you should be doing out on the field. I think a lot of kids, they want to react to things, but they're also not playing in their mind, hey, what do I do if this play happens? You know what I mean?
Yeah, a big part of that is the coaches. Where the coaches position you,
right.
throughout the game. How did they build that IQ? How did they put the chemistry together so the player next to you knows where they need to be while you are in another place backing up someone or whatever. So,
right.
That's which is, something that East Orange Babe Ruth has, a lot of good coaches out there, very passionate people out there. And what is your take on that? What do you think about it? Don't be controversial.
No, I'm not controversial. No. Well, you and I have talked about this before, and I'm pretty transparent when it comes to my expectation of my summer sports. I don't care about winning right now. Like, you're 10. You know what I mean? Like, our kid's not gonna go from 10U to the Major League Draft. Like, that's not happening. No. If people thought that, they're wrong. And so,
really?
I don't care about winning. Do I want to win? Sure, man. Like, yeah. And I just care, are you working? Are you being developed? Are you, getting opportunities to be in the game, to play? Because, and I told you this before when we talked, you can't replicate game experience. Like, there's nothing like it. You know what I mean? The pressure that you feel in the moment, the stress that your body's put into. Like, you could say, hey, I'm going to hit this ball to you. If you don't make this catch or make this throw, everybody's doing sprints. Yeah, that's great. But when a game's on the line, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I care about being, those things. And so everything else is secondary to me with that. And I know, and here's the thing, like, even though I've told you this before, I've told it to the team. Like, I don't even care. Like, I've said it to the team. Like, the winning's not that important to me. I even have to catch myself because there'll be times where I'm like, oh man, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And then I'm like, roll back. I don't want to be that travel baseball parent. You know what I mean? That's like losing their minds over, oh, we didn't do this or we didn't do that. Like. Again.
What kind of parent are you in baseball? Because there's there's the parents that get thrown out of ball games. There's the parents that, scream at the umps, you're blind, get some glasses, there's all kinds of parents out there. And we've seen them. We've seen them where we are. What kind of a parent are you? I mean, you're the one that doesn't, like, you just bite your tongue, in the middle of the games going like,
so number one, I love Jesus. So, and
Amen.
And so, with that being said, I try to put myself in that guy's shoe that's out there. You know, they're getting paid, but they're getting paid chump change to come and ump a game. You know what I mean? And so if you go and just straight up disrespect this person because what they called something a strike when it was a ball, like, I mean, come on, you know, and we've had it. We've had it before. We've had bad umps before, and you know, we'll talk a little bit, but there's a line, and I don't ever cross that line, and I never want to be one of those parents, you know. And I think I don't ever want to embarrass my son. I don't want to embarrass myself. You know, nowadays, I mean, how many times you've seen you go on social media and you see, you know, fights at the ball field, like
all
really,
the time,
we're
man.
we're fighting over, you know, little league baseball. Like, let's keep this in context, dude. So, again, your kid's not going pro from 10U. Yeah. So with that, it means it's not that serious.
Yeah, you know, we can't lose the focus. This is for the kids. This is for them, literally. This is for them to be better. This is for them to learn discipline. This is for them to have fun. This is for them. And, you know, we've seen, you know, this league have, you know, some spots where, you know, people are not agreeing with each other. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for me, it's all about, you know, the baseball community, the kids, the kids that love to play the game, you know, just making it better for them, you know. And, you know, it's a sensitive subject. So watch out where we're getting here. But,
no, you know, I don't think it's too. I mean, it can be sensitive. And, yeah, dude, you're going to run into situations where maybe you have parents that are just kind of like, you know, not people you really want to be around. I mean, that's happened before. Yeah. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just not you know, it's different from rec in comparison to Cobra, right? Because Cobra, primarily, you're keeping the same kids. Yeah. Rec, you're getting new people all the time. So, like, we were on one team for rec, and I'm like, this is a terrible team. And, like, I don't like the parents. And the only person that hears this is my wife. I don't talk to anybody. Spinal. I don't talk to anybody else. My wife hears all this. Like, so if she heard this podcast, she'd be like, yeah. You know, I'll literally whisper in her ear like I'm ready to be gone. Like, there was a team.
So that's why in the beginning when we met on that team, you know, on the Milwaukee Brewers, he was like, this guy's too loud for me. This guy is just too loud for me. Keep him. Hold it down.
We were on the Braves
Tie
together.
him up to the chair.
We were on the Braves together.
On the Braves. That was the team. Yeah.
Was that a good season? I don't think that was a good season.
No, that wasn't.
That was a rough season.
That was really rough.
No, that was a whisper. That was my whisper. But you would not have been a part of that in terms of my list of people because I really enjoyed my time with you.
Well, thank you. The same here. Yeah. You know, it was I gotta say, you know, I was a rookie at that point because that was one of my first years coming from, you know, the north down here, you know. So if I was like a little bit too like, you know, let's go, baby, you know, be like that, then, you know, but it's still 3 years later, I do the same thing. So I'm not gonna apologize. Whatever, man. So, do you think that the coaches now are focusing on skill and sportsmanship and development, like the overall? Is that your take?
I think they're trying to. I think, you know, for the time that you have, the amount of people that you have coming to practices, you know, you're trying to make the best of what you have. And, you know, you can only do so much with the people that you have out there on the field. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, you know, you can see some teams where they'll got like 5 or 6 coaches, you know, and out there, like, I'm gonna name drop Winter Park. Whenever we play at Winter Park, you know, the team with like the orange and black and the pinstripes and crap, you know, they come out and they're like 6 deep on coaches. You know, they probably got like 2 pitching coaches, they got a hitting coach, they got a, you know, whatever. Wow. And, you know, and so when they run their stuff, it looks like a well-oiled machine, you know, and we're in a different situation. You know what I mean?
That's a big payroll, though.
Yeah, and that's right. But, you know, at the same time, I'm like, you know, for what we have, yeah, man, I'm good. You know, I like our coaches. I think our coaches give their best to our boys.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's all we really can ask for, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you're talking 2 days a week. So there's 7 days in a week. So that means them other 5 days, that's on our shoulders, right?
Yeah, it's a big commitment. It's a huge commitment, and you know, that's a valid point. Kids that don't do anything during the week,
right?
Then they just use those days to get acquainted with the team and the baseball activities, whereas this is so much they can do. I tell you what, I feel like the coaches of Cobra, I'm gonna name him Jim. I'm gonna say Brian. I'm gonna say Fernando Rentas. I'm gonna say Joel. Those guys, I tip my hat to them.
Yes.
A lot of respect for all of them, and I have to thank them for putting the hard work day in and day out for the East Orange Babe Ruth Chaos team.
Hold on, give a shout out to Brian also for running the whole setup of our team, handling all the logistics of it. You know what I mean?
Let's go. Yeah, like he is the one that sets the event, and then like he's just walking around, looking around, all conspicuous, and he's looking around.
I mean, he's like a godfather of the team, man.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
Let me see, and you got Joel, just running around, and it's a fun team. It's a really fun team. So I'm glad to be part of it. And we had a hard game not this past week and the weekend before, right? It was 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
It was hard out there.
We couldn't hit.
We didn't even score a run.
No, but we couldn't hit, dude. We couldn't hit.
Our defense was solid.
Defense was playing well.
Yeah, our defense was solid.
But we couldn't hit the ball.
We just couldn't hit nothing
at all.
No,
at all.
Like,
but you know what?
He looked like that cartoon from Bugs Bunny, like ten out, and they were like just like just striking out.
I don't know if you saw this or not. And I was watching. You got kids that were throwing like that was that lefty that came in on the first game. He was first throwing heat, then he started throwing off speed, and then he had balls that were dropping.
Yeah.
Balls that were dropping. But, my bad. But
this is a podcast for kids, man.
But it was, dude, the ball just nosedived. And I'm like, and they're getting these calls. And I'm like, man, how do you, we're still working on, just hitting that ball that's going down the middle. And now we're, we got to train our kid to hit balls with movement. And so
I'm telling my kid, like, dude, come on, just get in there, like, just don't be afraid of the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I mean, I wouldn't like to be there.
No, that one kid was huge,
60 miles per hour, inconsistently, whatever, a flash like this, it can hit you in the elbow.
Yeah.
That's
Eli wear an elbow thing?
Yeah, he did. He learned. He learned the hard way.
I just bought I bought one for Judah, and I just didn't put it on him. But after watching this team this last time, I was like, hey, man, we need to get that on. Like, I don't need, your season to come to an end because, you got caught on that corner elbow, You got growth plates on your elbow too, man. So, like, you break that and that doesn't heal right, that doesn't, you could jack up your arm.
Jeez, so, man.
Yeah, Judah broke his arm. We learned that one.
Yeah, see, like, walking in wrapped in bubble, in like bubble paper, man.
Exactly.
Like,
Who knew?
Don't scare me, man.
Who knew?
So, what tell me an advice that you have for new parents that are new to baseball and trying to get their kids into baseball, and that excitement in the beginning, like what can you tell them? Like, what, give me an advice. Come on, Mr.
I think it's
the professor.
It's different in terms of when they're coming into playing ball, right? If they're coming in early, like T-ball type stuff, man, just have a blast with it. Get the glove, just working on catching, working on just swinging the bat, but don't expect like a whole bunch of other stuff. Your kid ain't gonna turn out to Ken Griffey Jr. in T-ball, And I mean, that's when we started with Judah. Judah started T-ball, although they didn't have enough kids for T-ball, so he went straight to coach pitch. And so that was interesting. But his first game, he hit off a coach pitch. I'm like, let's go. But I think, you know,
straight to the majors.
I guess it really just determines straight to the majors. It really just determines in terms of what your kid wants out of it, and that's where you got to have a realistic conversation. Are you doing this just to have fun? Are you doing this like your kid really really wants to put the work in? Because it's going to be evident when they come up to the plate. You know, it's going to be evident when they're out there in the field and the ball gets hit to them. You know, it's one of the few sports where it's a team sport, but there is an absolute spotlight on you when you're trying to make plays. Yeah. You know, if I'm playing football and, you know, I miss my block, you know, if that guy doesn't get to the quarterback, hey, I'm good. Hey, we can still score. We can still go. Play. Right. But, you know, if your kid's playing second base and that ball gets hit to him and, you know,
and it goes through between legs.
Right, between the legs because they didn't get themselves dropped down early enough, whichever. Or, you know, they're playing third, but they don't have the arm strength to make that third to first throw. You know what I mean? Like that becomes a real thing. And so what I say is this: if your kid's like, hey, I want to be good at this, you go on to start. It can't just be what you do in practice. So it can't just be practice.
It can't be just practice. That's right.
I don't know. You know, we set up. We got a net in our garage and a tee, and so Judah does tee work. Like I said, we found somebody. Judah turned the corner once. He had like a hitting coach. And once that guy was like working with him, you know, things started changing for Judah. And I think, and just because I don't know the game like that, you know what I mean? Like if this is football, it's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, I can tell.
But with it being baseball, you know, what I will say is I've learned over time. As he's learning, I'm learning. You know, difference is I don't forget it when the coach tells me. You know, like the coach will tell Judah, and then and a few times later, then he'll have to tell Judah again. You don't have to tell me twice. I'm already looking like, hey, your hand's supposed to be here.
My guy.
You know, exactly. So, but with new parents, I would say, you know, you need to dedicate more time than just what you do in practice.
Exactly.
You know, and it needs to be a few times a week, and.
Know your expectations.
Yeah,
you know, know your expectation and set that, and you know, you go from there. You know, like you say, if it's for recreational purposes, like sure. You know, I tell my son like, you know, it's whatever you want to do, whatever you wanna do, you just set it in your mind and do it. But if it's not in you to be a professional, just you know, like you don't have to like go and you know, practice every day if you don't want to. If you want to just be rec, then, you know, just play rec. If you want to be chaos and travel, then you got to put in the time, you know. It's all up to you, and they'll tell you, right?
That's the expectations. You know? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, set the expectations. What do you really want out of this? Yeah. And like you said, if you want to be great, you know,
you gotta put in the work.
You can't put in average work. What Kobe Bryant has a saying about
Mamba
that.
mentality.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
He says something to the effect of, you know, when people expect greatness when putting in average work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so you can't do that. Yeah. You want to be great, then man, you got to put in the work that's gonna make you great. And even Kobe even said that why even do it if you don't want to be great? Like, why even play the game? That's a whole nother. I ain't gonna push that.
That's a podcast for another podcast.
I ain't gonna push that. But I asked you, I'm like, hey man, you want to be great? Like,
that's it. And you know, like Kobe Bryant was, you know, when you were sleeping, he was at the gym. When you were eating, he was at the gym. When you were in the movies, he was at the gym. When you were doing this, he was at the gym. Like. That's it, you know.
Dude, my social media feeds were like they hit an algorithm where it was like every third video was a Kobe Bryant, and I wasn't even a Kobe Bryant fan. I'm a Jordan guy all day long. Ooh. But Kobe isms or the Mamba isms that you're saying, like that is a real thing, and you know. I learned after his passing all these little things, man, and it's definitely a real thing if you're willing to put that work in.
Yeah.
And baseball is one of those few sports, man, where you don't maybe have to be super athletic.
Yeah.
You can, if you're willing to put the time and effort in, you can be great. Look at David Wells, dude. That dude there's not an athletic bone in that dude's body. And he played in the majors for years.
And Prince Fielder, he's
Prince. Don't get it twisted.
I mean, he was a big boy.
Prince is an athlete. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chubby. Listen, David Wells. That's a full beer belly.
Yeah,
dude.
That's true. That's true.
He looks like he was at the end of a bar, and just kind of super glued himself to a stool for like 4 straight years. Like there again, not an athletic bone. If David Wells hears this, I have zero apologies for you, my man. You were not. You were not an athlete.
I'm gonna tag him in the podcast
That's
if
fine.
he
That's
listens to this. I wanna see, come to Orlando and get us, man. Come
at
to
me,
the
bro.
Come to the podcast, man, and state your case. So, I hear you, man. That's the beautiful thing about baseball, right? It doesn't matter, how your body looks. You can also be great at it. Basketball was one of my favorite sports, but I couldn't score. I had better possibility to catch COVID outside in the street than actually a rebound in a basketball game.
But you look at Tony Gwynn, right? Tony Gwynn, is he athlete? Yeah, he was probably athletic, but he went beyond what his athleticism was. His work ethic took him to a level that most people are not willing to even attempt to go. And I saw a thing about him. He faced Greg Maddux more than any other pitcher, right?
No
like
way.
107 times.
Really?
Right? And he batted .415 against Greg Maddux with 0 strikeouts.
What?
So, let's... get the horn. Hit the horn on that.
Oh, my God. No. We're going to explosion with this one, baby. We're going to explosion, man.
But, yeah, man, so... I don't know. So that's the stuff I kind of think about.
That is a beautiful. One thing I'm thinking about, this off season now in the professional baseball, it's been crazy, man, crazy, and Los Angeles Dodgers picking up players like Pokemon pieces, and the Mets putting together a great lineup that gets me really, really excited.
You got one guy.
A game changer.
The guy, but
the game changer. Literally, it changes the whole lineup. It just
you
gives
think he's going to have the
everyone
same success he had with the Yankees?
The only thing I'm worried about is the ballpark, because when you play in the Yankee Stadium, you're playing at a playground. You're playing at a little ballpark for kids. When you're playing at the Citi Field, now you're talking big boy measurements. Now you're talking big boy fences where it's really hard to get it out there.
Whose fault is that, though?
Well, the owner or whatever, when they build it, they actually brought the fences in a little bit to get it. But it's a pitcher's park. It was perfect for Jacob deGrom. It was perfect for Jacob deGrom. It's perfect for a lot of the pitchers that are out there. But, it doesn't matter. It's Juan Soto. When you get Juan Soto in that lineup, it boosts everyone else's value in that lineup, And now Pete Alonso as a cleanup. Oh my God! Please don't get me excited, because I wanna jump into this fantasy baseball stuff, man. And
hold on, I'm gonna say this.
Oh,
and I don't
man,
want to rain on your parade. But I don't.
Espérate.
I don't see Soto.
Panic button right here. What do you?
I don't see Soto having the same success with the Mets that he did with the Yankees.
Okay.
And it's just because of Judge.
Okay.
It's just Alonso's solid, man. I'm not disclaiming that at all, but he's not Judge. You know what I mean? And you don't have a Stanton that's right behind that too. You
mean the guy that lost 2 elbows in this offseason doing absolutely nothing? Dude, let's be clear in here. The lead of batter in that team, there's nothing like that in the Yankees. There's not a Francisco Lindor there. He doesn't. It's
But
just not a leadoff, natural leadoff player.
Mhm.
And then you got Soto, and then you bring in Alonso, and then you have Vientos, which what he showed you last year was incredible, off the charts numbers overall. Then you got me Francisco Alvarez, one of the prolific prospect catchers in this generation, coming up now in his third year, well, his second and a half year. And then, you sprinkle a little bit of, Brandon Nimmo, a guy that is always on base consistently. And it show you that his bat also has power. And that's the late lineup. That's out there in the lineup. I mean, the core is already the core. And then after that, it's just players that can make a difference. The Yankees, I mean, if you look at them after the fourth batter, fifth batter, who else is in there?
Hold on, because I speak as someone who had to face that lineup all the time. Now it's better.
Take a Juan Soto and take a Giancarlo Stanton from that lineup.
Right.
Who else is in there?
Aaron Judge, you got Chisholm. Like, dude, they got
and who else? Name me the third player.
I just named you 5. You had
Soto,
Soto, you had Judge, you had Giancarlo Stanton, you have Chisholm, you have
this year's team. I'm talking about this year's team.
I told you,
Tell
man.
me
I don't keep up. I said
you're in the same division. Need to.
I don't worry about them until we play them. We don't worry about it until we play them. But I was just saying. Here's the thing. The Mets don't bother me because we don't play the Mets. Or do we play y'all this year? I don't even know.
I don't know, but that would be a good game
we're playing the Braves, so I know I'm going up to Atlanta to go to that.
Nice.
But
that's a date.
Oh, I think we are playing y'all. In fact, I know we're playing y'all because we're playing the Marlins too. So we got to be playing y'all.
All right.
So, but yeah,
then that sounds like a bet. That sounds like a bet. Maybe
even that series, it doesn't really bother me. Y'all, I don't hate the Mets. Let's just put it that way, right? Like, I hate the Yankees. I hate the Red Sox. I don't hate the Mets.
Yeah,
my wife hates them. My wife hates the Mets.
Yeah,
so
because
she's a Braves fan.
She's a Braves, Atlanta, Georgia, fan.
But like I said, I wasn't trying to say him a foul. I don't think he's gonna have the success that he had.
All right.
We'll see. Hey, you deserve a win, not the series, but you deserve a win.
All right. Let's see at the middle of by the All-Star of this season, who has a better record, Baltimore or the Mets?
Oh, I don't even listen, man. We have 0 pitching, so I don't trust.
You're already not.
I'm
not. Your team.
I told you this. I told you this off season.
Grayson Rodriguez.
And Grayson can't listen.
Grayson Rodriguez is
Grayson Rodriguez is a bipolar pitcher, meaning he's up and down with his pitches. You know what I mean? Who else I got, dude? Man, I'm blanking.
The closer, which is one.
He just had his first close today.
Today?
Yeah, today against the Red Sox. Yeah, he mowed him down.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we had a 4-0 lead, and he took down the Red Sox as well. He should.
That's what you expect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's a great team. I love dude, Camden Yards is one of my favorite parks. I've been to many parks. It's amazing there. It so happens that I lived there for all those years. I lived for 18 years in the DMV area, and they sucked. And the Nationals sucked.
Wait a minute. No.
Yeah.
No. That's not true. Man, we won the AL East like in is that 09 or 10?
That was
I'm just saying,
there, man.
You said 18 years, bro. So I'm just, I'm going off.
You're
I'm going for that length
wow,
of time.
You're doing the math in here.
Listen,
I call you the professor for a reason. He's doing the math in here. The guy's doing the math. 18 minus,
I told you. I don't keep up with the other teams, but I keep up with my team.
I learned the lesson, professor.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. But we had a good team. This is when
Adam Jones
Chris
was in
Davis,
there.
Adam Jones.
Yeah, Chris. You mean Chris Davis, the guy guy that has the
Chris
one.
Jones, Chris Davis. Yeah,
No,
he had
Chris
such a
Davis.
slow-
Yeah. He
yeah.
had 1 year good.
Now he
and
had a few. He had a few. Nothing ridiculous.
Isn't
but
the guy that signed like a $200 million contract and then he sucked so
it
bad?
wasn't $200 million,
Yeah.
but it was a hefty contract. I don't know why they
That's
still
your Bobby
he was old.
Bonilla. That's your Bobby Bonilla right
Not
there,
even
man.
close,
Yeah,
bro.
that's
Because you
your
know
Bobby
what?
Bonilla,
Because you know
dude.
what? He's already done paid off,
Yeah.
and Bobby Bonilla is still getting checks.
But we have Bobby Bonilla Day and you don't. So
right,
you know
exactly.
you're
So
jealous.
he's not
You're
our Bobby
jealous.
Bonilla. He's not our Bobby Bonilla.
Stop it.
Oh,
So
crap.
okay, let's talk about this fantasy baseball thing right
Yeah.
here. Last year you were a great player in the Fantasy Deporte Fantasy Baseball League, which we do every year. It's 20 teams. We get the first 10 people that write us, which is usually filled up in about 5 hours. And there's nothing to buy. All you need to do is leave us a review in either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, whatever you hear your Fantasy Deporte podcast, and you know you can just get in for free. And there's prices for the first place and the second place, $50 and $25. So next year, you know, all of you, I'm sorry about all the people that have write and said, hey man, I want to be in the league, and you know, it filled out pretty quickly. So just pay attention to the next podcast, basketball and football. I mean football, because the basketball right now is in the playoffs. So Mr. Nate the Professor here, he was a member of our tournament last year. There were 20 teams. Listen to this, people. He started at the week 7. His record was 2-5. 2-5.
Wow.
That's exactly how I felt about it. But then, after that, 12-3. So the first third of the season, he was 2-5. The second thirds, the next 2/3 of the season, he went out 12-3. Amazing run. So what happened? Well, how did you were able to turn around this team like that?
So first thing, that was my first year playing. Last year was my first year doing fantasy.
I remember
baseball.
we were talking about it, and you know, you were like, "What do I do, Manny? What do I do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, you know, we, just let it rip, bro."
I had no clue what I was doing, and so you know, my experience was strictly just football, fantasy football. And unlike fantasy football, fantasy baseball is a daily thing. I didn't understand the lineups, how I needed to do the lineups, and so that 2-5, I don't even know how I got 2 out of those 7 that time period. However, once I did figure it out, and that was really, just really kind of game planning. You know, I learned because, you know, maybe I was putting guys in starting positions that weren't starting. I didn't know, again, you're just doing it based off of what fantasy football was like. And so once I started figuring out, all right, I need guys in the starting positions. All right, so what happens if I got a guy who's off, you know, and I'm looking at my bench and I'm like, I got guys who are not performing. And so then I'm looking, you know, and I'm going through the waiver wire and I'm looking at guys, you know, all right, so who's doing equal to or better than these guys I got on the bench? And man, I just started wearing out that waiver wire. I mean, I was working that thing. And so that's
working that thing like a buffet in Ponderosa, man. This guy did his job.
That's exactly what happened.
12-3.
12-3, man. 12-3. And those three that I lost, those were not blowouts. I lost those by very short margins.
Oh, the hurtful ones.
I was doing some damage, dude. And so I felt pretty good, you know, after you know, then my 2-5 start, and I made that run, and taking me into the postseason. And I felt pretty good in terms of what I could do. You know. Yeah,
no, I hear you.
And then I faced your son.
And then you just happened to battle Eli, the cool guy 13, in the first round of the playoffs. And that didn't end well. It was crazy, guys. I mean, like, this was a heck of a game between these two. They were battling. They were literally battling. The game ended up 261 to 259. So Eli the Cool Guy ended up winning by 2 points in that first round. It was a battle to the end. Like, Josh Bell gave Eli the RBI and the run that he needed to be able to beat. Like,
literally the week before, I was like 2 points shy from putting up 400 points. Like, that's how prolific my team was. And then those cats come out and put up, 260? I was so mad, dude.
251 to 261. 2 points, man.
I was so mad. But I was even more mad that I lost to Eli. Because then your son rubbed that junk in, like, just salt in the wound. And I'm like, okay. All right. I mean, it's my first time playing it. And I'm over here losing to a 10-year-old. So, you know.
Ouch. He was all about it.
He was telling everybody. Anybody who would listen. Anybody who would listen.
That's what, but you know what Eli does that you didn't do? Listen to Fantasy Deporte. You know, that's where he got his advice.
Well,
that's why.
I mean, for me, it wouldn't have been as beneficial because it's all in Spanish and I don't speak Spanish. So.
Duolingo de qué? Mere, Duolingo de qué? Fantasy Deporte, better than Duolingo. Listen to me, people. If Duolingo is not helping you, listen to Fantasy Deporte podcast.
Right.
No, honestly, like, our Spanish is really bad too. Like, we just slang the heck out of it.
My best friend's from Nicaragua. I'll have him listen to it and have him go on and translate everything for me, and then give it to me. And I should be good.
Saludos, amigos de Nicaragua.
Yes.
Tell him to contact us. Let's have him in the podcast. Yeah. Bring him in. So, all right. So let's. I'm sorry about that. You just joined in this evening in the tournament because I sent you the invitation like 2 weeks ago, and finally you had to join in today. That you're the last spot.
I thought I was signed up, dude.
Well, you didn't. You just signed in.
You clearly showed me that I wasn't, but I thought I was signed up in it already.
You were the 20th team. Congratulations. That might be a lucky number right there.
Save the best for last, man.
Let's go. Let's go. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Absolutely.
Woo! Look at that, el profesor.
That's right.
So, what are you thinking about this year, man? As far as strategy, what is it that you're looking for this year as far as fantasy baseball? Is there like the poker aces strategy, which is 2 players at the beginning of the draft? Are you doing the best player strategy, which is the best player available? The bat strategy, which is the strong bat, or the floor and the ceiling? What is your approach, knowing this year's baseball players out there, how you want to build your fantasy team?
Yeah, I would probably say more of, I like the pocket aces approach. I had Webb, and I had what's my other guy's name? I had
Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, I had Webb and Wheeler
and Aaron Nola.
Yeah, well.
Phillies. All Phillies.
I think I picked him up later. I don't think I drafted him.
No.
I'm 100% sure. I can't remember because it's auto drafted, so I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I can't listen. I told you, if it's not Orioles, I don't really pay attention.
Yeah.
And so, but I like that because, I mean, they gave you chunks of points. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can get an outing and they could hit you with 40 points. And you have a guy who's a great hitter. He's not putting those points up, like that in a week. So so that whole pocket aces thing, I absolutely believe that. I also my strategy that I used was having flexibility with players.
There you go.
So I liked players that played other positions. You get burned a lot at the catcher position because a lot of catchers just don't play every game. And so if I can get a catcher who also plays another position, like his bat's that good that they want to make sure he's out there, then I love those guys because then, he can be in the catcher's position, but he's not playing catcher. Yeah. And so, but it's a guaranteed bat.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
a DH or an offense.
I think we showed that, and I had probably at least 4 or 5 guys that were multi-position players, and that was at my advantage because I can't tell you how many times Joey Ortiz, which I can't remember if I picked him up. I think I picked him up. He wasn't. I don't think he got drafted. And I know Joey Ortiz because he was one of our top prospects in the Orioles farm system. And that's the guy. That's the guy that the Orioles traded for Burns.
Yep.
I hope he just flames out.
So,
anyway. Am I bitter?
No,
yes.
I hear you. You're looking for flexibility and pocket aces combined.
Right, because I think he played second base and he played shortstop. So if I got a shortstop that's coming up, that can play, and or my starting second baseman's out. Yeah. I can move him in, put another player in the shortstop, and then what that does is I'm getting guaranteed bats every single day. And that's the thing. And so I'm telling you, I was putting up ungodly amount of points.
Man, when they qualify in different positions, is always something positive for your team. You can move people around. You're able, if someone gets injured, you can place this player into that position. It's the thing about it with everything, there is risk. Like if you get a pocket ace strategy, and acquire one, like for example last year, if you acquire Spencer Strider, which is the Atlanta Braves pitcher, that was Tommy a pocket.
John, right?
That was a pocket aces kind of player. Boom. You suffer. You had a bad year because you didn't have your number one pick. The other same way. If you have Ronald Acuna, you went with the strong bat, strategy. Then you got Ronald Acuna. Boom. You didn't have a good year either. So, it can go either way. I think, and this year's, I don't know if you know what the top players are as far as like the pocket aces is Derek Skubal and Paul Skeens. And these guys are throwing flame. And there is a big debate right now about who should go before the other one. Do you know anything about this?
No. Okay. I know Skeens. Am I saying his name right?
Yeah. Paul Skeens, the guy with the mustache.
Yeah. He dates the girl from LSU or something like that.
That is funny. He's more known about dating this girl
I think
than actually, because my wife just told me like, hey, the guy that is like dating this girl, and I'm like, what? Who? What girl? Until she said something about the mustache.
Yeah, I don't. I know he's. I know he's good.
He's a fresh arm. He's a kid, like he throws really, really hard. He has a very hard discipline. It's going to be tough choosing in between those two if you are going for a different strategy. But honestly, for me, the strategy is more about the strong bats. And I spoke about this the last podcast, saying that, I would like to get the value of some of the pitchers that are going out later on, such as Logan Gilbert, which is one of the SP. I will be fine and I will be comfortable and super happy having Gilbert as my first pitcher. In later on in the draft. Well, you don't have to sacrifice the strong bats in the beginning. But it's all a matter, sometimes people, it's the most important thing is like to know the board. Know who you're drafting against. Know what their tendencies are. If there's a fan from the Mets in the board, like that will be me. I'm going to be having a sweet tooth for my Mets. So I'm going to be looking for, Francisco Lindor. I'm going to be looking for, the Pete Alonso's. I'm going to be looking for, so know your board. Know the people around you. And I think you can make a better assessment.
I think that's good in terms of because it's your team, you're going to follow them more closely. So you're going to see, for an example, Kyle Bradish. So he was coming off IR, and I knew it. Why? I'm an Orioles guy. And so I picked him up, and I held him until he came off IR.
And he paid the dues. He paid the dividend.
He played well, and then he got hurt again.
Yeah.
And so, and he ended up being out. But, dude, like, the time that he pitched up to the point when he got hurt, man, he was playing great for me. It's paying attention. So what I started doing is I started going through, like, seeing the guys who are in the IR and how many days they had left. You know what I mean?
This is what we call in Puerto Rico la guirita de 7-Up. Like, you're looking for the guys that are out there that nobody knows and just picking them up and like hoping that
hey man, that 12-3 happened, and that 12-3 happened because of that.
Wow.
And so
12-3.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, that junk would have been 15-0 if I figured it out earlier. And so
they don't call him the professor for nothing, people. This is it. This guy.
That's right.
Yo, I mean, like, this is great insight you're giving us. And it's one last question I'm going to ask you because we're running a little bit long, but what is your preference as far as the draft goes? Like, do you want to be in the beginning, in the middle, or at the end? What do you prefer?
That's so tough, man. And I struggle with this with fantasy football draft as well. I want more value. And just like what you said before, right? So the Strider or Acuna, you could have took them as your first pick, and now you fresh out of luck. You know what I mean? I like the middle more or the end because I'm doing back to back, and I typically get more quality, of a player. But I don't. I guess it really doesn't matter. You run with what you have, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like I for me personally, like if I'm in the middle of the draft, I feel like I'm like in the line of fire. Like I gotta be paying attention forward and back and forward. Yeah. So for me, I like to be like at the end of the draft where I can see how the board works itself out. And then when I go, I got 2 in a row. Bam, bam. And even though I don't see it again for a while, I am paying attention of like how is the board working, and I'm sitting down and I'm just like, I'm catching all the people that are getting drunk. Right. I'm like, this guy is getting tipsy. All right, he's gonna make some mistakes. This guy.
But see, I feel like when you get that tail end pick, right, and I know you're getting back to backs, but it feels like you're not really getting a first round pick. You're getting like 2 second round picks. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where so in our draft it's 20 teams, right? So if you're the 10th team, you're still getting the 10th best player that's out there. Right, and then in comparison to the 20th and 21st best player,
no, true.
And so you really legitimately get a top prospect for that first round, and then you're getting a top prospect for the second round. So I guess I said it didn't matter. I would prefer the middle port. That 10.
I mean, in a 20-team league, that's just not usual. That's unusual, right? So it is a tough league. You gotta prepare for it, But if you want to be the champion and have the bragging rights for a whole year on the best fantasy football tournament, which is this is a worldwide tournament because we got many other countries like Colombia, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Florida. Florida is not a country, but people a lot from here, people from DC are also playing. Right. So I mean, this is big. This is huge.
Mr. Worldwide over here, right?
Mr. Worldwide, baby. Let's go. Wait, if you're gonna call me the Worldwide, I gotta make my own.
You gotta do it.
Sí, muy buenas, Mr. Worldwide, coming in straight at you from Fantasy Deporte. Thank you. Well, you know what? Oh man, it's getting there. It's getting there, dude. It's been such a pleasure and honor having you here today in Fantasy Deporte podcast. I hope this is not the last one. I hope this is one of many more still to come. Absolutely. I appreciate it, man.
I had a blast, man. I appreciate you, brother. All right. It was great.
So remember, my friends, you can be ugly, but if you're smart, respectful, honest, and good people, you still be ugly because one thing doesn't have to do anything with the other one. From el Nate the Professor, from el Manny, disfrute su béisbol. Gracias.
Later.
Sí. Woo. Cute.